Baruch Hashem.
I thought you were gonna.
No, only once.
Are you recording now?
Yeah. Yeah. You have a question before?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When can you say, like, if I just say, the Shemona Esrei, that's my davening.
Right.
Usually I do Mark because that's the only time I have.
Okay.
When's the earliest time I could say?
Good question. There's really an argument about Arvit, when we could start. It depends on Mincha. There's the argument in the Gemara between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim. So Rabbi Yehuda says you have until Plaga Mincha, that's an hour and 15 minutes before sunset. Until then you could say Mincha, after that you can't. That means you could say Arvit. Chachamim say up to sunset. So it's funny, one of the few instances in the Gemara where it says that a person could, if you want to go this way you could, if you want to go this way you could. You don't find that often. However, just make sure that you're not contradicting yourself. That means if you pray Mincha after Plaga Mincha, so you're saying, I think that today, the day is until sunset. And then don't say Arvit right away, because then you're just contradicting yourself. Then wait until after sunset and then pray Arvit.
Oh, okay.
So if you want, if you're only saying Arvit and you want to say Shemona Esrei only, you could even say it after that, at that time. Long summer days, it'll be, I think, 6:38, if I'm not mistaken, is already Plaga Mincha.
So should I just say Mincha?
Up to you. At least one Shemona Esrei a day you should. So it's up to you. You want to say Mincha, you want to say Arvit.
So it doesn't really matter.
No, as long as you say one.
So if you're between Plaga and Mincha
and Shekia and sunset, so say it. Say Mincha then. But then remember, if you say Arvit, that's for tomorrow. Huh? Right?
It's the next day.
Oh, really?
So you could do both. Either way. If you have it. Look, it's just that you you make a deal with God. I'm only going to do one. All right. Bezat Hashem. Yikubal baratzon. Okay. So we're up to Halachot of Seuda Shlishit. And we said that if a person ate, just to recap the last thing that we said, if a person wants to, can't, but under no means cannot have bread. Right? We said the best thing is to eat Seuda Shlishit with bread, and to make sure that, it's something special, to make sure that you don't eat too much in the morning so that you could have Seuda Shlishit properly. But after all said and done, a person couldn't make it, so at least he should have some cake, right? If you can't even have cakes, have some fruit. And even that you can't do, then just drink some wine for the sake of Seuda Shlishit. Now, if a person is eating a Seuda with bread and everything, so then that Seuda could drag as long as they want it. Doesn't matter. You could go 2-3 hours even after Shabbat. It's fine. But if a person is not eating bread, is just eating some cake, then the time to stop eating the cake would be at Shekiah, right? At sunset, they should go ahead and stop. However, if they didn't, the person forgot, didn't get a chance to eat anything. Suddenly remembers, oh no, it's sunset right now, and he didn't eat Seuda Shlishit yet. What would you say? Eat right now. Right? As long as it's not Set HaKochavim, as long as it's not that 13 and a half minutes after sunset, go ahead and eat and drink right away then. But you got to make sure to finish by Set HaKochavim. That means we have almost 13 and a half, 14 minutes to go ahead and stop, right? But if a person was just eating, let's say started 10 minutes before sunset and started eating his cake up or drinking some wine, then when it is Shekiah, when it is sunset, they should stop drinking. Drinking is different than eating, right? But you could continue eating whatever. He's in the middle of eating a piece of cake or 2 pieces of cake. whatever, you could continue and finish it, but definitely stop by Tzet HaKochavim, no longer. There is a difference between eating and drinking, because drinking, each cup that you drink is a separate drink. So that you drank, Chazak Baruch, done. Once it's Shekiah, stop. But if he's eating till you finish eating the pieces of cake that you were eating, it's all considered one continuous, and therefore one is allowed to do it. There's a machloket on this, but this is what Rabbi Ovadia says, that drinking shall stop. Now, in Birkat HaMazon, we said, by the night and the day, if a person forgot to say Retzeva HaChalitzenu. Retzeva HaChalitzenu shows that the Seuda that I'm eating now is for the kavod of Shabbat. So if a person forgot to say Retzeva HaChalitzenu, he said, V'tivnei Yerushalayim Yirach Migrab B'Yem Avenu, Baruch Atah Hashem Bonei Yerushalayim, Amen. As soon as he says, Baruch Atah Hashem Bonei Yerushalayim, Amen, now he remembered. Let's go back a little bit. If he said Baruch Atah Hashem, what should he do? He should say Lamedeni Chukecha. This way what he said is a pasuk, and it is not a hefsek in Birkat HaMazon. Right? It's a pasuk in 119 Tehillim, Baruch Atah Adonai Lamedeni Chukecha. It's a pasuk. So he says the pasuk, perfectly fine. Okay? And that is not going to be a hefsek in Birkat HaMazon. And then he says Yetzivah Chalitzenu, finishes the baracha, and continues on. If he said Baruch Atah Hashem, and he also said Bonei Yerushalayim, now he makes a baracha, Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, Hashem natan lanu Shabbatot limnucha, and something, and then it's Leot ul Berit, Baruch Atah Hashem, Mekadesh HaShabbat. That's the baracha that he says. Perfect. If he forgot, and he still said Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, he's about to continue Birkat HaMazon, and says, oh, Shabbat. He could then switch to that baracha that we said, and then go ahead and say the baracha of Baruch Atah Hashem, special for Shabbat. He gains one more baracha. He or she gains one more baracha for Shabbat. We need 100 barachot. And continues, finishes Birkat HaMazon. This is true. But if he forgot, he says Baruch Atah Hashem and Elokeinu melech haolam la'ad. He only said the word la'ad. He just said la'ad. Then goes back and starts Birkat HaMazon all over again. Okay? This is true at night, first Seuda, and the second Seuda. However, Seuda Shlishit is a little bit different, because as we just said, Seuda Shlishit, he could be Yotzeh with cake, with fruit. He doesn't necessarily have to have bread. So now, let's see. If he remembered, and he said Baruch Atah Hashem, say Lamedeni Chukecha, no problem, say Retzeh, and go on. If he didn't remember, right, he says Baruch Atah Hashem Bonei Yerushalayim. Then if it's a man, he makes the baracha, right? He makes the baracha that we have, and then he continues the thing. But if not, if he didn't remember, he said Birkat HaMazon, he said Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam la'ad. At this point in time, we don't say, oh, start Birkat HaMazon all over again. We tell him continue, don't go back. See the difference? What happened between Seuda Shlishit and the first two? Ladies, it's even more kal, because by ladies, they don't say the baracha, don't even say the baracha, and just continue going on Birkat HaMazon. A man also, if it's already after Tzet HaKochavim, if already the stars are out, he doesn't even say the baracha. If he says Baruch Atah Hashem Bonei Yerushalayim, just continue. Sorry for you. Which is most of the cases. Most of the cases that we have Seuda Shlishit, they are after Tzet HaKochavim. Usually when we finish Seuda Shlishit and we say Birkat HaMazon. And in that case, a man also, if he forgot to say Retzivah Chalitzenu, and he started the baracha, he just continues. Okay? But ladies, because there is a whole big argument whether there are chayavot in Seuda Shlishit, and if yes, do they have to say Retzivah Chalitzenu? It's a lot of controversy. That's why we're afraid. We don't want to make baracha levatala, and therefore this is the Pesach halacha. And if they forgot to say Retzivah Chalitzenu, if they remembered it on time, they caught it on time to say Baruch Atah Hashem Lamedeni Chukecha, then do it and say Retzivah Chalitzenu. Otherwise, just continue. if you suddenly remembered after Birkat Hamazon, oh, I forgot to say the Tzeva Chalitzenu, it's okay, next week. Right? Now, if the Seuda continued and it's night, and Motzei Shabbat, that means Sunday, is Rosh Chodesh, what do we do? On the one hand, you're eating Seuda Shlishit, which belongs to Shabbat, you want to say the Tzeva Chalitzenu. On the other hand, it's already Rosh Chodesh. It's Motzei Shabbat, and right now it's Rosh Chodesh. Should you say Ya'aleh V'yavo or not? What's the halacha?
No.
The halacha is you don't say Ya'aleh V'yavo. You only say the Tzeva Chalitzenu. Your Seuda began on Shabbat. It's a Seuda of Shabbat, and you say the Tzeva Chalitzenu. Even if it's already night, into the night of Rosh Chodesh, we still don't say Ya'aleh V'yavo. And if Shabbat was both Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh, then you say both Tzeva Chalitzenu and Ya'aleh V'yavo. Although Rosh Chodesh is totally over, Shabbat is totally over. That's what we do. Good. End of Seuda Shlishit. Now, let's move to after that. It is asur for a person to do any melacha before Shabbat ends. Okay. Meaning, after Shekiah, after the sun sets, you got to give it some time that it's night, that it's nightfall. How long is that? So the Geonim say that that time of Tzete Kochavim, that means the star. It's called the Tzete Kochavim because that means the stars have to be out. It says that they have to see 3 stars. The question becomes, which 3 stars? How dark should it get until we could clearly distinguish and see these 3 stars? So there is a lot of back and forth. So first of all, the general accepted rule is that we say 13 and a half minutes is already Tzedek Kochavim. However, we're dealing with Shabbat, so there is Kedei Halichat Mil, going 1 mil. That was a measurement that was there. We add another 18 minutes to that 13 minutes, so it's about a half hour, give and take. So we wait another couple of minutes also to add from Chol to Kodesh, to give some gift to Shabbat, to make holy a little bit more. So it's approximately 35, 40 minutes. Right? So after that already, it is allowed for a person to do melachot. Right? However, a lot of poskim, Sephardi and Ashkenazi poskim, many of them bring down that they say that a person should be very careful not to do any melacha until the Tzeta Kochavim of Rabbeinu Tam. For some reason, this name stuck with it, although it's not only Rabbeinu Tam, it's many, many, many others of his contemporary people that from his Rabbeinu Tam's time. Rabbeinu Tam was a grandson of Rashi, Rabbeinu Yaakov Mitzarfat, right? Rashi had a daughter, 2 daughters actually. So one of his daughters had a boy named Shemuel. Her husband was Meir, so it was Rabbi Shemuel ben Meir, right? And Rabbeinu Yaakov ben Meir. So Rabbeinu Tam was called Rabbeinu Tam for a few reasons. He was very kadosh, like Yaakov Avinu, Ishtam Yoshev Ohalim, because his name was Yaakov. So, all right. So when was he? That would place him around 850 years ago, about give or take. So anyway, they call it Rabbeinu Tam for some reason. He had the merit that for all generations that's what it's called. But it's definitely better for a person to be very careful, to go ahead and keep the end of Shabbat according to his calculation of Tzedek Kochavim. Although the custom, like it's written, the custom is to go like the Geoni. And that's how most people go. They go with this half hour or 35 minutes thing. And if a person has a hard time to keep Rabbeinu Tam, could go ahead and rely on this. However, because Shabbat is such chamur thing, such stringent thing, there's a chiyuv karet, there's a chiyuv sekilah, so you have to be very careful. And that's why, a lot of poskim bring down that a person should try and be careful, at least for melachot, not to do them until the time of Rabbeinu Tam is over. That is, they say 72 minutes after Shekiah. According to Rabbi, these 72 minutes is calculated like Sha'ot Zamaniyot. Sha'ot Zamaniyot means you calculate from the time of the sunrise to sunset, you divide it up into 12, and it varies. In the summer, it's about an hour and a half. In the winter, it's about an hour, not 72 minutes. So it varies. It jumps around, and one of the poskim brings down that as long as there is a tinge of red color in the sky, it's not Tzedek Chavim yet. As long as we could see that red in the sky, it's not Tzedek Chavim yet. So that's why we try to be careful. We try to be careful. At least, Rabbi says it's a chumrah. Really, it's a chumrah that we should try and keep. Belina there, a person should try to do it. But that's just for melachot, for kindling fire, or doing any of the melachot. But something which is darabanan, right? Once it's already, the Shabbat is over according to the Geonim, right? A person could do it. Even, 30 minutes, 35 minutes after sunset, the person wants to do hachana. They want to clean up the house, put away the dishes, or to nothing that is really melacha derabanan, melacha deoraita. They could do, no problem. They want to wash the dishes with the Shabbat with the brush. That's fine. They could do it during that time. As long as they don't do sechita, or they want to sweep the floor, prepare for some party tonight. As long as they're not doing a malacha, or they could even sit in a bus, right? They're not opening the door gets open on its own and everything. Midrabanan would be asur, but here at this point in time, the person is in a rush to go somewhere, could do it. Even if you keep in Rabbanan Tam, you're not doing any malacha. Yeah.
How about the cell phones? You're allowed to use them.
Cell phones. Well, with the cell phone, the problem is the light, right? The light turns on, and that would be a problem. Might be a problem of havara. That's a problem. I remember there was a case when one guy had to catch a flight. Said, no, I want to keep Rabbanan Tam. Told him, okay, have the cab come, pick you up right after, the Zeman of the Geonim, 40 minutes, 35 minutes after, and have him open the door. You just sit in the shuttle, get yourself to the airport. Once it's Rabbanan Tam already, then by the time you get to the airport, it's going to be Rabbanan Tam. Done. Catch your flight. That's what he did. If a person has to, then yeah. But if a person doesn't have to, Baruch Hashem, like the Chavetz Chaim says, a person wants to stay inside Beracha. Shabbat is Beracha, so the longer we stay, the Hasidim, they don't finish until 3 hours after. They're sitting, what? You never seen it? Oh my gosh, they're singing, and the Rebbe starts talking. The Gerer Hasidim, Belza Hasidim, Baba Hasidim. You go to New York, you see, ooh, it's going on. It's going on. And then Taza, they say Arvi, they make Havdalah, and then right away they eat Seuda Revi'it. They don't budge until 1 or 2 in the morning. They're there. Especially in the summer. Wow, it's such a long thing. It's Baruch Hashem. I'm not saying to do that, but right? But if a person doesn't have to, then why not? But sometimes it becomes hard, especially with little kids or things that happen. Then for sure, the halacha is that the minhag, the custom, is to go with the time of the Geonim, and that's good enough to rely on. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
How about the codes for the door?
Electronic. Yeah. Is there lights that turn on?
Yes. If there's no light.
If there's no light, then it's fine.
Even if it buzzes when you open and close it.
The buzzing is fine. During that time, of course. On Shabbat, of course we can. But the buzzing is fine. It's the lights. The light that some want to say LED lights is less, but I don't know. I wouldn't play with it. But for sure, true melacha, to turn the gas on, to boil water or to cook food and things like that, then no.
But can you have someone else turn it on for you, and then let's say the kids want pasta right after Shabbat?
Did you mention this last week? Did we say it? Let's say you're getting Seuda Shlishit, right? And it's after Tzedek Chavim already, and there was a person or one of the kids, for that person, you want to keep Rabbanan Tam.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or you're in the middle of Seuda Shlishit, you don't want to stop yet. Baruch Hashem, we have our guests, everybody's singing, and everything, saying Divrei Torah, and you say, you know what, I want some schnitzel, right? And your sister is there, and she's like, she's already done. She's said Havdalah or whatever. She doesn't keep Rabban Tam. And you say, could you make us all some schnitzel, And they do it. You're in the middle of Seuda Shlishit. And by then already, it's a half hour is past. They could go ahead and bring out the frying pan, turn the stove on, and make schnitzel, fresh schnitzel for everyone, and they could all have.
But you can't make it for yourself. Let's say they turn on the fire, you can't.
No, that's the bishul. You don't want. I mean, if you want to be machmir like Rabban Tam, that's bishul. We try not to do the actual melachot as we can. I already said this about Shabbat, about Yom Tov, and about Yom Kippur. He always used to say, Yom Tov by us, it's the second day of Yom Tov, it's Midrabanan, so we don't keep Rabban Tam then. Right? Let's say it's Rosh Hashanah, Shavuot, Sukkot, Simchat Torah, it's always the second day of Yom Tov. So there we don't keep Rabban Tam. But if you're in Eretz Yisrael keeping one day, they will keep Rabban Tam. Or Yom Kippur, it says not to do melacha, not to eat. Wait, 7:20. He said he worked it out in Shiur. He always used to say, by the time you come out of shul, by the time you say Bikal Levana, by the time you get home and everything, it's definitely Rabban Tam. Don't worry about it. But he always said, but for women, children, or whoever is weak, someone who's older, right away, with the Zaman of the Geonim, they should break their fast. Of course. He said it's a chumrah, and if a person could do it, definitely he should do it. Rabbi himself, sometimes he would sit in the car. He was in the car to go for the shiur that he used to give in the Yazdi Shul. He was in the car during that time. To make it there for shiur, for Talmud Torah, for teaching, for learning Torah, teaching Torah, yeah, for sure.
Sorry, after Yom Kippur, if my husband's still not ready to say Kiddush, can I, let's say, eat?
100%. Make Kiddush.
So I don't have to.
Make
I have to say
Havdalah.
my own
Yeah,
Kiddush.
make Havdalah and eat, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
You take grape juice and you say Bor Peri Geffen and Hamavdil, and that's it. For sure, a person has to do it. We're going to get to Havdalah. Right. Okay. Now, it is... any questions on this so far? It's good? It is a mitzvah daseh min Torah. It is, according to many poskim, it is a mitzvah daseh min Torah, positive commandment of the Torah, men and women, to make Havdalah on Mosei Shabbat. Right? And we have to be very careful with it. Gemara and Midrashim, Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, different places, it says there are three that inherit Olam Haba, one who raises the children for Torah, one who, I forget what the second one was, the third one was, one who makes sure to make Havdalah on a cup of wine. Interesting. Or it says a person that's careful to make Havdalah on a cup of wine, the children are going to become poskei halacha, they're going to teach halacha to Am Yisrael. Or it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu calls him Kadosh, calls him holy, and Segula. Segula means treasured, right? Who wouldn't want these things? So it's very important for a person to be careful. Like, some people take Havdalah as a joke, but it's quite serious. It's mitzvah min Torah. Like it says, Zochrehu b'knisato. You have to mention Shabbat as it enters. The Zochrehu b'yitziato, right? And also mention Shabbat as it leaves. Kavod of the king of Shabbat, the queen, as it comes in to announce it, and also as Shabbat leaves, to announce it and to sanctify it. It's part of the Zachor et Yom Shabbat Kadesho. Rabbi also quoted another pasuk somewhere back here. It was interesting. I haven't seen this before. Yeah. That Ovadia also quoted in Chazon Ovadia. Fine. Now, if a person needs to do melacha before Havdalah, right? Before Havdalah, he wants to do a melacha. So now, if he prayed Arvit, and during Arvit he says Atachon Antano, that is Havdalah. That is Havdalah. It's not Havdalah yet on wine, but it's still Havdalah. Atachon Antano. In that part of prayer, which is added in the Beracha of Hatachonen, we are mentioning the distinction between Kodesh and Chol, and that itself is Havdalah, and a person could go ahead and do Melacha if need be before Havdalah. But if the person didn't yet say Arvit, Shabbat is over, didn't say Arvit yet, therefore didn't say Havdalah, and they need to do something, they need to prepare food for the baby, right? So they could say Baruch HaMavdil ben Kodesh Lachol, just this statement, Baruch HaMavdil ben Kodesh Lachol, right? Blessed is the one that makes the differentiation, separation between Kodesh and Chol, and then does whatever they want to do. Like, you could do a Melacha until Be'ezat Hashem we do Havdalah, right? We have to do that, we have to make that distinction before we do any type of Melacha. Right. How about eating? If a person wants to eat, it is asur to eat before making Havdalah. Once a person finishes Seuda Shlishit and already the sun has set, remember we said, unless the person didn't eat Seuda Shlishit and now the sun set, then they must eat something for Seuda Shlishit during the time of Tzedek Chavim. If you could eat bread, eat bread. If not, the cake or fruit, something, but eat it right away before Tzedek Chavim, before that 13 and a half minutes are up. But otherwise, if they already ate, they just want to have fun and eat, no. Once it's Shekiat HaChama, once the sun has set, and they have already eaten Seuda Shlishit, one should not eat or drink until they make Havdalah. Okay? Water, halachically, Pashtanim, one that needs to drink water could. However, I don't want to tell you all the scary stuff that the poskim bring down about one who even drinks water during that time, right, before Havdalah. It's pretty scary. They quote the Zohar, they quote different places, like, so Kabbalistically, no to water, okay? But lefi peshat, according to non-Kabbalistic poskim, if a person needs to drink, then they could. Better to be machmir and not to drink water even, right? I think you asked that last week, right? Was it? Yeah. So water, halachically one could, but definitely better to be machmir, based on the things that they bring down. If a person made a mistake, and during this time, they forgot, and they made a baracha on some food. So taste it a little bit so that the baracha is not going to be baracha levatala. We're dealing with an isur deoraita, right? A biblical isur of saying baracha levatala, saying Hashem's name in vain, versus that during this time for the kavod of Havdalah not to eat. So certainly we have to take care of that, and a person should taste a little bit from what they made the baracha on, and that's it. Now, it is a very, very correct and a good idea. It's a very good idea. It's a correct thing to do to say Havdalah in the Beit Knesset. Right? Why? Because there are people that don't know how to make Havdalah. They don't know how to read even. Or there are people that don't have wine. That happens. So for them, they should definitely make Havdalah in the Beit Knesset. Right? At the right time, properly, and when we make Havdalah, whether we are making Havdalah in the Beit Knesset or at home, us Sephardim, we sit. Why? Because we want to show a permanence, right? We sit down. There are others that say, no, stand up. Just like you accept Shabbat standing up, so too you should see Shabbat off standing up. There is some sort of, it seems like a lot of Ashkenazi poskim go like the second opinion, and they stand. In many Ashkenazi shuls, they stand. By Sephardim, they should sit, because according to Shulchan Aruch, definitely they should sit, because you want to make the Seuda something of a permanence. However, I don't know. Either they don't know, or it's a custom in some places that they stand. It's fine. The places that they have a custom to stand, let them stand, but it's certainly better for the person that's making Havdalah and the people that are listening, they should all sit. That's... You don't have to see him.
You just have to hear Havdalah.
Right. You just have to hear Havdalah. Birkat Borei Moraesh. Yes. You have to go near the fire and get to it. We're going to get to it. You got to be near it and smell. So then there is a trick for it. We're going to get to that. right? This is not considered. This is not no help, right? Because it's not fire. Fluorescent for sure. LED fluorescent is not fire. It's not gonna help. We cannot make Bora Moresh on that, but we're gonna get to it. As Hashem, we got some more halachot. We'll get to. Let's first get through this. Now, the best thing though is that a person that shouldn't rely on the Havdalah in the Beit Knesset for a few reasons. One, who knows if the person making Havdalah knows how to have kavanah and knows how to say it properly and so on and so forth. Second, it'll bring a lot more importance when you do it at home. It'll give it and show the children, it'll show ourselves, that it's a great mitzvah. And why not do it ourselves? Why should we have to listen to the one that is happening in the shul? Now, someone is in the Beit Knesset and he's hearing Havdalah, and automatically you're listening to it. You're going to be yotzeh. So a few things. The person should do something to show that he's not being yotzeh, right? One is have intention. I don't want to be yotzeh this mitzvah. I'm going to do it at home. Number two, say Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo. But you know what? There are some people that say Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo and they say it loud. What happens? The poor people that are listening, they also say Baruch Hu Shemo. They don't know. They get confused. So say it, Chazak Baruch. Just say it quietly, for yourself, to know that I'm not being yotzeh with this Havdalah. I'm going home to make Havdalah.
If you say Baruch Shemo, means you're not yotzeh.
Right.
Any bracha?
Right. It's because it's as if there's a big argument about that. Some poskim say, no, it's fine. You're praising Hashem. You're praising the Lord. That's fine, but others say, no. Imagine you're saying Baruch Baruch Atah Hashem, Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo, Elokeinu melech haolam, Baruch Pri Hagef. It's like you're like, what are you doing? Smack in the middle of Baruch and that's how it works, really, because when you're listening to the Baruch, it's as if you're saying it. It's called Shomea Ke'oneh. One who hears it is as if he's saying it. So therefore, most poskim, Rav Ovadia, of course, says that a person should not say Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo.
In general.
No. When he's being yotzeh with the Baruch in general, it's a good thing.
This community
to be
has
honest
a big
with
problem
you.
with
Right.
this. This community has a big problem. They always say Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo because they're not aware of this.
They're not. And you want to know something? There's a huge thing to say Amen, as you know. Pasuk says, "Gedelu laHashem iti u'romama shemo yachtav." Like when you say Hashem's name, you have to elevate Hashem's. So when you say Amen, Amen is I can't tell you enough. To say Amen on a bracha is an extremely important thing. Very important. Because it shows that Amen comes from Emunah. It shows, yes, I believe in what was said. And in some ways, poskim say that saying Amen is even more important than saying the Baracha. It's that important. I could tell you a crazy story. I'll tell you a crazy story. Okay. Rav Yafeh. Rav Yafeh was a big chacham in one of the big European cities. He's called, I forget his first name, Rabbi Yamin Yafeh, Baal HaLevush. He wrote, right after the Shulchan Aruch, finished writing the Shulchan Aruch, they were Shulchan Aruch and Rav Moshe Isserdish, they were contemporaries. Like Maran Rabbi Yosef Karo was in Tzfat, and Rav Moshe Isserdish was the Rav of Krakow. Was the Rav of all the Ashkenazi communities. So they wrote Shulchan Aruch and the thing. So Levush was a little bit after there, Rav Yafeh, Baal HaLevush, and he wrote also Halachot, very important, very important sefer used always. Now, before he became the Rav of, if I'm not mistaken, Frankfurt, he says, I need, if you guys want me to be your rabbi, I need to perfect my knowledge about making the calendar, to making decisions on the calendar. So for that, he had to go to Italy, to Rabbi Yitzchak Abuhav, who was a huge Kabbalist, Chacham Sephardi. They were experts. Chacham Sephardim, they were experts in all these things. To go learn by him this part of the Torah. And he goes to him, he's there for a while, it becomes his student. So one day, they were sitting around and learning, so one of the kids made a baracha. And Rav Yafeh was busy learning, he didn't say Amen. Oh, it's like Abu Hab said, what? He didn't answer Amen? It's the baracha of the child, he took out a shofar, excommunicated him. Could you imagine? And he was like, Tati, Aviti, Poshati, what are they? I think after like 30 days, I called him in, comes in, he says, please forgive me for what I did. It's like really scary. This is it's like what? No joke, serious business. And he says, let me tell you a story. I want you to go and tell this story to everyone. Years ago, in the country of Spain, there was a big chassid, big tzaddik, and he was very close to the king of Spain. And anytime there was decrees, there were problems and everything, he would go and the king loved him and he would nullify the decree and everything. One time, he came, the king wanted to see him, and he goes and there's a lot of people there. And as they were all talking and everything, this bishop comes in, starts talking Spanish and Latin, giving a whole blessing to the king. Meantime, this guy was dragging on, and the time for mincha came. This chassid went in the corner, starts praying mincha, and this guy saw in the corner of his eye that he's praying. So he's going on, and then he says, now is the end of the blessing, and I need everyone present to say amen to the blessing. Otherwise, the blessing that I'm giving the king is not going to work. And sure enough, this person was saying mincha. Everyone says amen, except for the chacham. He says, oh no, he starts pulling his hair. This bracha, this blessing that I give the king is not going to work because of that Jew that's standing there. He didn't say amen. Like, whoa. And the king got really angry. And he punished the tzaddik, the chassid, very severely. I can't even tell you. Very severe, terrible. And everybody was scared, like, wow, why this tzaddik, everything in his life was perfect and good. Why did he have to suffer such fate? He comes with a dream to a few of the chacham of the generation. He says, one time, a young boy made a baracha, and I didn't say amen. This was the punishment for that. I had to suffer this punishment for this. All of his zechuyot didn't protect him. And he told Harav Yafe, I want you, any congregation, any place you go, to tell this story, to show the importance of answering amen after a baracha. Now, answering amen is very important. Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo, it's not even mentioned. You look in the Gemara, it's not mentioned. Rabbeinu Asher brings down, it's a nice thing when you hear Hashem's name in the baracha to say Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo. Blessed is he and blessed is his name. That's where it began. People take that more seriously than the amen. Like, they say Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo. When it comes to the amen, they forget. Or they can't hear the end of the baracha because they said that so loud. It happens a lot. Birkat Kohanim, when the Kohanim were up there, people scream out Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo. It's nice, but it's better to hear the baracha. Like, they don't know. It's not their fault. Baruch Hashem, they mean well. Chas v'shalom to say that they're doing it on purpose. But just to remember, priorities. Okay, just went off tangent a little bit because when we're hearing Havdalah and you don't want to be Yotzei, you're, let's say, in shul and you want to go at home and make the baracha, you would want to say Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo, but don't say it too loud to not to confuse the people. I think we could squeeze in one more halakha. If a person, let's say there was nobody else at home, in the Beit Knesset to make Havdalah, and they asked him, please make Havdalah for us. Good, he made Havdalah. Or he forgot and it was Yotzei Havdalah. Either way, right? And he comes home, and his kids, his wife, they wanted to make Havdalah. So, number one, if they know how to make Havdalah, best thing is they should make Havdalah. His wife should make Havdalah for all the kids. She has as much obligation as her husband to make Havdalah. Although Ashkenazim, they say no way. If the husband is there or whatever, we're going to get to that. But for us, for sure, she has as much obligation to make Havdalah, and she should make Havdalah, right? Or one of the older kids. But if they don't want to, either they don't know how, or they don't feel comfortable. The father is there and the father is not making Havdalah, they should make Havdalah. They don't feel comfortable. They want him to make Havdalah. So he could do one of two things. Say Borei Peri HaGefen, have them say Borei Aseh B'Samim and Borei Me'oreh HaEsh, and then he says Hamavdil Ben Kodesh Lach. Right? You could do that. Right? What if they don't know how to make these two barachot either? Then what he could do is he could make all of them for them. Right? He could make all the 4 barachot for them, even though he was yotzeh, but they don't know how to do it, so he could make the barachot. But if they know how to make the barachot, either say Borei Pnei Gefen, wait for them to say Aseh B'Samim, say Borei Mora Ha'esh, then they'll sit down and say Baruch Atah Hashem Eloheinu Melech Haolam Hamavdil Ben Kodesh L'Chol U'Ben B'Choshen. Or he could say Borei Pnei Gefen and say Hamavdil Ben Kodesh L'Chol, skip the beracha of Besamim and Esh and the candle. Once he's done and he drinks, then they could go ahead. And that was what, if a person missed it in shul, they could do the same thing. And then they could walk over and say Borei Atzeh Besamim, and something that smells good, and say Borei Mora Ha'esh on the fire, and we're good to go. Let's say you're in a yeshiva, that's where we were, and this is what would happen. Are you kidding me? We have 300-400 people, the one person is holding a candle. You think we're going to make it? They're not going to wait for you. So they would say all the barachot, boom, 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 and then once it was over, we would walk over and say Atzeh Besamim and Borei Mora Ha'esh.
Did leave the light on?
They have to. What are they going to do? Everybody wants to. Some of the guys, they didn't care. They would just run out. Say, oh yeah, we did it. But most of us, especially